So this is our 26th session together, in July 20th, 2023, and Jean Paul Andres here, and I'm Mark Sheridan. And what we've decided to discuss this month of July, is we'll start it off with any questions or comments anybody has, and just a general welcome. A number of you have sent in some photos of projects that you have on the workbench, and so we'll go through those. And if you could say a few words about those, that'd be great if you're on the line. Otherwise, I'll just mention what people had sent me. Murray and I have got the Lang Pioneer Village TNCC get together coming up this Saturday. So we're going to talk just very briefly about that and what our plans are for that. John Paul has put together a few slides in regard to how he scales a project, gets a project to the right size, if you want, before he goes to the bandsaw and before he starts his carving. So John's going to talk a little bit about that. Murray's, I just kind of jokingly put mistakes, also known as opportunities. Murray's going to talk about the way he approaches a carving. Instead of throwing a carving out if something happens, or if something he doesn't like looks in proportion, how he has gone about fixing those kinds of things. And so Murray will talk about that. And then we wanted to get everybody just kind of sharing their ideas of our next virtual show. John Paul and I haven't decided yet when that might be, or more importantly, what that might look like. So just get everybody's ideas on what that would look like in your mind. Okay, so just a reminder to everybody to mute your microphones so that it doesn't interfere with the presenter. But certainly, if you have something to say or a question to ask, unmute and ask that question. So with that, let me just open it up to the floor. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I got one, Mark.
Yeah, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne.
Up in the right-hand corner, I always have, for a picture, I can see myself. Now I'm seeing a picture of one of my carvings, but I don't. Are you able to see me?
No, we see your carving right now.
Yeah. So something has changed. And honestly, I haven't been in on the settings. So.
Yeah.
One other time it happened too, and I just curious. Doesn't matter, but
we could take a vote here to see if people prefer looking at your carving or looking at you, Wayne.
I was just going to say the option you're viewing now is probably the better looking of the two. So. Okay, no problem. Well, like I said, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
anyway.
You know, where it shows on the bottom a little camera video, there's usually an arrow beside that, and you can click on that and make sure it's using your camera off of your iPad or computer, whatever you're using.
Yeah, no, I'll have to mess around with it later on.
I don't later. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll fix it. I got a big hammer.
Yeah. Okay. Anything from
Always,
anybody
you
else?
always hit the top. You always hit the top. Bang it.
Yeah.
Or shut it off and restart it.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Look at that. He's back. Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, terrific. I'll go back to share screen then. Okay, let's get started. So we've got a number of photos that were sent in to us in regard to projects on the workbench, or projects maybe that just got completed since our last get together. And Bob Thompson, who's not on the line tonight, sent us in these two nice pictures. So Bob, as you know, has mainly been doing caricatures, but he obviously tried his hand on a fish, and I think it looks really good.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Nice coral.
Yeah. I think he did a really nice job on that. Bob also sent in these, and he was saying in his email to me that he's getting an early start on Christmas. So he's putting together a few little Christmas ornaments. These have magnets on the back, and so it'll be kind of like a fridge magnet type of thing. And again, he's got a couple of nice patterns, and they're looking good, I think. Any other comments? Okay, Wayne sent in this to us last time. And Wayne, your remaining photos that are coming up are what it looks like today, I guess. So you can come off and mute, Wayne, and kind of talk to us about this.
Yeah, well, that's as far as I had him last month, and there he is.
Hey, there you are.
There he is today. Him and his dog. They're going up to camp for a week. Get clear of the old lady and get a little rest and relaxation. The old lady disagreed with it, so I guess she's gonna get some R&R too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I finished him up a few days after last meeting. So
Now,
haven't sold him yet, but I know where he's going when he.
oh, is that right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
looks really good. You know, I think we said last time, really good motion in this one. And now you added the dog, and the dog looks like he's had better days. Is it just general wear and tear? Or is the guy a bad shot?
No, I guess the dog's just lived a hard life. That's all. He's a rescue dog.
He's looking to be rescued right now.
Yeah, that sort of it's a Tom Wolfe pattern, I guess. I had one of his books, and I've carved a lot of his dogs. But somewhere along the line, on one of the other forums that I was on a few years ago, somebody had doctored one up with a bandage on his tail and the band-aid on his rump, and it just I kind of liked it. So that happens quite often with my dog. So
that's really.
I like the base there, Wayne. The base looks really good. I like the grass hanging over top instead of a. That's really.
Yeah, I use for that I use a piece of pine stair tread. I think it's 1 1/8 inches thick, and gives you a little room to work with and stuff. So
that looks good.
It kind of reminds me of icing on a cake.
Yeah, right. Well, the heat and the humidity we've had down here this last 3 or 4 weeks, that's what the grass looks like. It's drooping.
You know, I like the addition of the dog. You know, you were planning to put a dog or some background in it when you showed us this one, but you can see the difference. You know, like this is a nice carving, but what a difference it makes when you add the dog.
Yeah, it all comes together.
I have a habit of trying to do that on everything. I'm doing one now. Guy's not a hunter; he's a different vocation, but getting some pretty good add-ons with him. So he'll be ready for next month.
Very good.
Nice.
That tells a good story, Wayne.
No, I don't know any.
No, I mean your carving tells a good story.
Oh, I thought somebody asked me one time at a craft show, I said, "Where do you come up with all these ideas?" And I said, "Well, I've lived most of them, so."
Really nice.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that was last meeting. One of the members was
that was Mike.
Jack Pine ornaments and stuff, and so that was Captain Jack Pine, I call it, and that was fun to do. It's the only one I've done, and I've still got it kicking around here. I might take it down to the gift shop and see if they can sell it, but it was fun, and
I don't know if Mike Southen is on the line tonight, but it was Mike that was talking, and the Thunder Bay Club was putting these together. So if Mike's not on the line, he'll like to see this.
Actually, I found the carving the little, I don't know what you call them, the petals or whatever of the pine cone was more difficult than carving the face and the hat. To get them to look reasonably lifelike.
It looks like a pine cone for sure.
Yeah, looks really good. Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, any comments for Wayne? Okay. Alec, I think you're on the line tonight.
Yeah, here I am here. Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Alec.
Hello.
Hi.
This one I put together. It's supposed to be my brother and sister-in-law sitting on a bench. So I built the bench first, and then I had to add the people. So it all came out pretty good. And I added the arms on the man, after, so I can get the right contour on the arm of the bench.
Very good.
And then the hat I carved separately. I was going to have it sitting on his knee, but then I was talking to a judge, Uda. A lot of people know Uda, and she said it's better if I glue the hat on, because if it's separate, judges don't like that. So, and I don't know if you can read it, but it's got what is it? The City of Guelph park bench.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. Yeah.
Parks and Rec, yeah, and then interlocking brick for the base.
That's a great fit on the hat. Really good
Huh.
fit. Very natural looking.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
So what did you do, Alec, on the hat? Did
Well,
you
I
cut off part
carved,
of the head and glued it on, or?
it's pretty much, I did trim the head a little bit. If I'd have showed you the backside, you'd have seen my brother John. He has the same hairstyle as you, Mark.
Oh, good for
Hmm.
him.
Yeah, so I know it's hard to get, but
You have
the
to work
back
hard at
shows
it.
it quite well, and I wish people could have seen that. But anyways, I carved the hat and then I added the peak on afterwards. I find it much easier to get the grain to go the proper way.
Mhm.
And he's a Chevy nut, so it's got the Chevy insignia on the front of the hat.
Oh, very good. That's really
Nice
nice.
detail.
Now, Alec, you had sent me a note about this, and we ended up kind of just emailing back and forth once or twice. And
Yeah, thanks for the answer on that, because I was kind of, I wondered why. I thought the like, I know it doesn't show any action, but it's fitted nicely, I thought.
yeah,
And I'm not complaining. I come in third, but my other carvings come in first and second.
oh, very good. Very good.
But
Well,
I
let's
thought
just
this was
kind
a
of fill
better
everybody in. Let's kind of fill everybody in. So the thing we're talking about is that, every judge you run into in every show is going to have a bit of a different twist on different things. And the judge, at least one of the judges that Alex spoke to in regard to this carving was concerned that the glasses on the two figures were made out of plastic. And wondered about that, and possibly kind of downgraded the carving because of that reason. What I said to Alec is that, in my opinion, accessories are just fine as long as they don't overwhelm the carving in terms of being too high a percentage of plastic or metal or whatever it happens to be. The other thing that I always think about with accessories is the accessory done as well as the rest of the carving? And if it's not done as well as the rest of the carving, then that's going to downgrade the carving as well. And the third thing I always think about, again, with accessories is, did the artist do some work in creating the accessory? Or, you're adding a dog or these little pigeons. Did you find them at a dollar store and they're ceramic and you just glued them in place? And if that's the case, and there was no work done on the accessory, that's something I would expect to be downgraded, and that if I was judging, I would probably downgrade myself. But it's really up to the individual carvers and or judges rather. And sometimes prior to a carving show, they'll get very specific around, this is allowed, this isn't allowed. You see it more in birding and wildfowl than you do in general carving, but sometimes they get a little specific about that too.
Mark,
So, yeah.
sorry. Is it a good idea? Because I've seen it done before, where people put little notes that said rocks or carved this and that. Like, if you had carved those glasses and made some kind of epoxy or something, is it a good way to tell the judges if they don't have the time to look closer? Or
Yeah, I've never experienced that myself. I guess, Serge, I've experienced the opposite, where the judges don't want to talk to you at all about the carving. They don't want you hovering around while they're judging and saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
notice this and notice that." So, but that's not a bad thought. If you had something really point wise that you just offer with your carving when you submit the carving, that might be a worthwhile idea.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting just to open that topic up to everybody for a moment and get their sense of what your experience has been, or how you feel about accessories like the glasses or something else in a wood carving.
I think I agree with the comment that you made. If there's accessories and you manufacture them yourself, then I don't have a problem with that. And I know that bird carvers, because I often go around with the judges when in a carving competition, and with the birds, there's very specific things that you can and can't do with each different level, but not so much with general carving, and maybe there needs to be, because it would help people understand. And I can understand how there'd be some confusion here with if he's used a bit of plastic here and didn't know that that wasn't allowed. And so maybe if the carving people who run the carving competition could offer a few suggestions on what they're specifically looking for in each different level, in the novice and intermediate and open levels, that would avoid that type of thing.
That's a good thought, Dave.
I have two ideas on that too. Often you see people, they want glasses on something, they get a piece of wire or paper clip and bend it up, and everybody considers that fine, but it's still not wood, it's metal. But with these here, the glasses, they look realistic. I don't see where there's anything wrong with it. I think it looks great the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I have actually put glasses on a number of carvings, and the one I did previous to this, I made 7 pairs of glasses, all out of different woods, and the best I had was maple, but then I found a different type of maple, and I can't tell you what kind of maple it is, but it seemed to be quite harder. It was difficult to make. And I made the glasses out of that, and they held up. But I thought cherry or walnut would, because they're so hard to work with. They fall apart very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other comments?
I think the powerful part of it is that this carving has a story to it. It's telling something. Pigeons first put a lot of action into it, and the distance they are sitting apart can tell you another part of the story that maybe it's got to be careful how I tell it, but it's a really good one.
They're married.
The realistic picture, the realistic way they carve faces and that kind of thing in bodies, and they're excellent. And those things are so great that they far outshine a piece of plexiglass or whatever plastic it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a great carving, Alec, and I think the thing we go away with is it really is up to the judges. And Dave probably made a good suggestion that we should probably encourage at shows people to upfront say what's allowed and what's not allowed. David, you might want to just mute your iPad, because when you cough, it goes to your iPad instead of the speaker. Okay. Good carving, Alec.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Larry sent this. Larry, I don't think Larry's on the line tonight. So Larry saw these somewhere, maybe it was Facebook or on the web somewhere. I don't know who the original artist was that picked up this idea of making a caricature out of a fish, but Larry saw it and thought he'd give it a try, and I think they look great. I think they really look good.
I think he probably got it from a guy named Nima Khan. He does a lot of these, and they're very. He's got like so many different designs of these, and they remind me of that. If it might not be him in particular, but he claims to be the originator of these. Yes, yeah, that fellow does. But yeah, they're good. They're nice. Yeah. I like the grain and the one on our right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you see this guy, Sue, on Facebook?
I've seen him on Instagram, and I believe he has a Facebook page as well. I think he spells his first name Nima, I think, and his last name is Khan, Khan. And
yeah, I've seen about maybe 4 years ago. I think the last time we had a show in Ottawa, or the time before, I bought one on a stick from Murray that Murray made and painted.
Yeah.
It was similar to that. Murray probably remembers those. I think it was in the Word Carving Illustrated maybe 4 or 5 years ago. They had a similar style.
Yeah.
Looks really sharp. Okay, Murray, you've I've got 3 slides here with some of your carvings in it.
This is a response to listening to John Paul and his illustrations, his ideas, and looking at his bench. When I watch over everybody's shoulders, he has lots of faces. And so using some of the ideas plus others of my own is creating different faces. And so they become like my dictionary or my place to look back on, see what I want to get, a big nose or round nose or whatever it is. And also one of the issues I think was Mark had mentioned at one stage when you were doing the fellow serenading his girl, or you serenading your wife under the tree, under the lamplight, the difficulties of carving a woman's face compared to a man or caricatures is great, and pushing yourself a little further on that. So if you see an example of the 2 women, one is a kind of a cartoonish style on the right side, one on the second from the right is more realistic and yet still a little bit cartoonish. My special fellow on the left-hand side, I want to point out, he was the head of the pitcher for my baseball player. It was amputated and a new head was put in. But I just thought this, if I give this a title, it's called January 6th.
Yeah.
Magna on top, MAGA. I have strong feelings about this. So if I publish this too far and people from the American response group in this video, I do apologize to you, but Abraham Lincoln was one of my relatives, and he was Republican, and he's not a MAGA person. If you can't get close enough, I really, on that one, just back for a minute there, Mark.
Oh, sorry.
You can't get close to it yet, but maybe you'll see it on Saturday. I put yellow stains on his teeth. That's really one of the special parts of what this character is. And the beard turned out as rough as it was. What I did is kind of a dry brush black on top of the pores on his skin and leave the white centers of the little round tip that it did the marks on his face from, and it turns out to look a really rough face. It's a good one. Next one you look at. And then this is again using a number of different ideas to put the face, a structure, change the size of the head, and doing some of the, one thing that I'm doing on this now is dry brushing. But I found that if you just do the dry brush on top of the raw wood, or at least the background painted wood, it's not quite the same. It takes a little bit more effort. So what I've done is, after I put the base coat on, then I take the brush with just water and wet the face. Then I do a dry brush on that, and it just smooths out beautifully. And I can shade much better that way under the cheeks and the different parts of crevices and so on. So it's just it's kind of for me, that was a new way to do it. Maybe that John Paul had something that you do all along. I'm not sure, but give me some ideas on that.
Yeah, it's I like the whole concept that you're doing right now. Like that's what I do. I do the exact same thing. I just do a bunch of faces, change the nose, change the mouth, and then you practice, and then you get different. You just come up with some new ideas and stuff. But doing the face, the color I use the 209 with the. I've used the oil, and it comes out every time the exact same color. So then I shade it with a light black, watered down black and blue. But I like it. You're doing a great job.
Murray, this one really stands out. It stands out because it's a really good carving, but it also stands out because it's different style than all of the other carvings of faces. And I think what it is is, you know, many of your carved faces are oval, or maybe you'd call it round. This one, the way you necked it in at the temple, it really makes it a standout face. It looks really good.
I tried to, as I start off doing the sketching for each one that I'm carving, I try to get a feeling of what a smug look might be, or a startled look, or kind of the fellow on the right side, he's just kind of like a bit lazy, not really too much of anything. He's got his tobacco in his mouth, and he's got little, you can't see this much in the picture, but stains down each side of the mustache and the beard. So it's that feeling that getting what the person's like that I'm going to carve, and the head then matches that feeling first. And the body's not too hard to do, but right now I was just practicing heads. I'll put bodies on them perhaps someday, but right now they're too big for that. I'm going to never put it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you do something with that third from the left, because it's an outstanding face. You should try to put a body on that one.
The second from the left or third?
No, this one here, the third
Yeah.
from
Third from the
Yeah.
right, left, yeah.
yeah, third from the left. Yeah,
Left to right.
That
right. Nice carvings. Any comments, questions for Murray? Okay, Roy Hawley sent in a couple
cool.
slides to me. So these are puffins that he's doing. Roy is from Newfoundland, and he's doing these as Christmas ornaments, obviously. But look at the work that he's done these.
Beautiful.
I think he's done a beautiful job. Everything about this. Wayne, he was saying that he used your method of the plaid for the first time, and he was saying he was a little disappointed in it, but I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, if my wife saw these, she'd want one of each for sure.
Yeah,
The colors are just amazing.
yeah, yeah. And they're magnets, so they're a fridge magnet. They're up against a fridge right now, I guess. But you know, I think of the carving, like it's so unique in the carving, but his painting, the coloring is just perfect. And he sent another picture of them along with a couple of Santas he did, again, fridge magnets.
In the second row, that's neat. The hats, the two on the left have, I can't see the one on the right as much, but that hat on the left-hand side, like the bomber's hat from, it's just totally unique, just with the fur on the front and leather or down.
Yeah, this one here, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool.
I like these ones here. He's got the little Christmas tree emblem there too.
Yeah.
Now, just Roy was saying that he's going to sell these at a flea market or something, and was puzzled and was interested in people's point of view around how you should be pricing these things. And I gave him my sense of what I would price these things at, but I'd be interested to hear a few ideas, like just looking at these. How would you price some of this stuff?
I say the puffins at least $25. I would think.
Yeah, I agree. $25 to $30, 35.
Oh yeah. There's
I'd
as
say
much
40.
paintwork
40.
as the paintwork is just as important as the carving work, you know.
And the fact that the puffin from Newfoundland is a huge collector's item for anybody visiting Newfoundland.
Exactly.
John Paul, you chimed in too. What was your thought?
No, I'd go 40. I'd get
Oh.
40 for those, no problem.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the area. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like you
There's a
know,
lot
in
of work.
Toronto, you might be able to get 60.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's
they're beautiful.
They're
A
really
lot of
well
work.
done. Yeah. So I'm kind of in John Paul's camp. You know, I would have said like $45 I would have sold these things for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peggy and Paul and I recently went to Art in the Park here in Kingston, where artists of all description, there was something like 300 artists there in canopies selling their wares. And I was surprised at the prices. The prices were double and sometimes triple what I thought would be a reasonable price. And they were selling their stuff like hotcakes. So I walked away thinking that we probably underestimate the value of the work that we do. And these are really particularly well done, I think.
there's no close-ups, Mark, or side views of the
No, there's no side view, Serge, just what
Yeah,
I've
they're-
got
they're
here.
So interesting. Yeah, the tree and the bomber hat, but the tree on the front, like those, what do you call that, top hat or
Yeah.
chimney?
Yeah,
They're really, really special.
Nice.
And the plaid is crazy.
yeah, yeah, nice job. John Paul, you took you took
Oh,
you did Mr. Pinecone too.
Yes, I did him right after the show. I drew him out. Oh, he's right. I have it drawn right here on a piece of paper from the last time. And then I just did him the next day, and Jack Pine, it's Mr. Santa Pine, I guess.
Very nice. Michael appreciate these, the ones you and Wayne did there.
Yeah, just give him some ideas.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Tony, are you on the line tonight? Maybe not. So Tony, you recall Tony sent us in that very large log last time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
clearly a chainsaw carver, and he's done some work on some well-known artists. And you can see this one here, and then the next one he has two. So you can see
Nice.
you can get a sense of the size of these things just by what's in the background. But really nice job. Tony's actually coming to Lang Pioneer Village with Murray and I hope he's thinking of bringing a small electric chainsaw or something, and that'll be kind of interesting. Okay, Mike Southen. He's a grandpa, like many of us, and decided to make a little PlayStation for his grandchildren, and sent this in, and you can see the kind of carvings he did to embellish the sandbox and the slide. He did a really good job.
Excellent.
It's a dino slide.
Yeah, the dino slide, exactly. Yeah.
I think that the merry-go-round has probably taken over part of his life.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Way to go, Mike.
Yeah. Nice job. And Furtis, I know you're on the line tonight.
Yeah, so these are done out of 1 by 1. So the Santa ornament on the left is just done out of 1 by 1. I did it for somebody at work. Turned out well. I like the way the eyes look. The gnome on the right, a month or so ago, Doug Linker posted a 2 by 2 character with hands in his pockets. So I just used the idea and I made him into a gnome. So this guy stands about 5 inches with the base, and I kind of did it on a 1 by 1 piece, and then I said, okay, let me keep the bottom part and just cut him out, make him into a base. So that's what I did. So I like that
Nice.
this was also for somebody at work, the gnome. So that's how I did it. The Santa stands about 4 inches. The gnome is with the base is around 5 inches tall. They are both 1 by 1 piece of basswood.
Yeah, you did a good eyes and nose in that gnome, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like the folds. I like the folds here too. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Santa's hat, those look good. These striations you made on a bit of a bias there, makes it look like fur. Yeah, that's really nicely done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice work, Curtis.
Thank you.
The wrinkles here at the side of the eyes and the bag under the eye, that's really looking smart. And any
Yeah.
other? Go ahead, Fredo.
Try to narrow the temple down a little bit on both of these.
Yeah.
Gives a better look that way.
In here, just in here, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody for sending in your photographs. Okay, so we'll just stop share for a minute and Murray and I can talk just very briefly about what's coming up at Lang. So you've all got a lot of information from Murray in particular, the details, but some information from me on email, so you know what that looks like. So we're gonna be there from 10 till 4 o'clock. And we have half a dozen picnic tables set up for ourselves. We probably have 6 or 7 people online to join us, and maybe some more people who join, just kind of an impromptu drop in, which is more than welcome. And we're just going to work on projects. Murray and I will be there to work one-on-one with anybody who'd like to get some advice or get a little bit of counsel from either of us. I'm going to bring a couple of little projects. If somebody's not working on a project, I just turned down on the lathe some of those little bells that I make, the Christmas ornament bells, and I've cut out a couple of boots. So there's a couple of those for people as well. And the idea is just to have fun and hopefully engage some members of the public too that come by and want to learn about caricature carving or just carving in general. So if you haven't sent your name in, there's plenty of room in the park. I would love to see you. Bring a lunch and bring something sharp to carve with, and we'll have a lot of fun. So something happened there, Murray. You'll have to help me with that.
I think your PowerPoint perhaps went blip.
No,
Was
Fred,
Fred in here.
Yeah. Fred, are you on the line? Something happened there to, I'm going to share.
Now we're drawing a line. For some reason, somebody drew a line. There we go, back to Sue.
This is mine.
Sorry, that's it's Fred, and I apologize. My computer is acting up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with the program.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You always like to make a big entrance, Fred. That's kind of neat.
I do, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back to mute.
So anyways, that's what we're doing on Lang. Murray, add to that, please.
I think just a thing to mention to you that hopefully as we do this as an example, that others may pick it up in your area. Not everybody can travel the distance, and one thing we've already experienced is the Great Wall of the 401 and the 400 going north seems to just say, people, you don't need to come at all. But we do have people from the west of or east of Toronto coming. And one thing that happens out of this is that I built a relationship with Lang staff over the 25 years of being a volunteer there. And this is really proven. They're all excited about us coming. And they kind of asked on the side if we could have a little project for some of the people to try. And they see that is one of the 2 efforts that we've done that way in the past, and last year was a great success. So people may come and look at what you're doing and talk to you about it, but we're going to have some small pieces of pine and a craft knife for them to whittle away at it and try it. I'll be there to supervise that mostly in that area, plus have my other things set up. But I just appreciate everyone that's making an effort to come. And we realize that putting it during the summertime does put it in competition to family times and holidays. And so we just know that it's the first time around. We may do more of these, and definitely Lang's interested in, but I'm thinking about the pioneer villages in your area, because what happens in the grade 4 level of public school, that is the pioneer studies. And they take the kids out to every pioneer village in their region, bus them in, and they spend the whole day there. So most of you are involved in some way close to that. The Settlers Village up at in the Kawarth is up at Bob Cajun is one that I've been involved with in the past, and I know that the Bob Cajun carvers are now going there more often. But it is something that we're excited about because it reaches out to a public to let them know who we are. And we are somebody special that people need to look at. You definitely have got the talent and the ability that needs to be shown off. Now, one thing they were saying, they're expecting maybe 15 to 20 people to show up tomorrow that might be interested. They've been passing the word around, so they don't all come at one time. They'll come for a short time and then they take home what they work on. And so that's a little bit of the input that I have. I think they're going to have coffee for us as well as some sweets, and that's all by donation. They simply drop us something into their bucket. That'll be in the barn. If something does happen, that the rain comes after this big storm again, that perhaps what we'll be doing is moving right into the barn. So that's what I'm putting input
Yeah,
there.
the weather looks pretty clear for Saturday, so hopefully that stays as is being suggested now. So anyways, we're looking forward to that. If you can join us, please do. Okay.
Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention too that, you know, I know it's a bit far for people from our area to travel to where you're going to be going, but this Sunday, I know Bob Thompson's not on tonight. I'm not sure if Eric Haber is or not, but there's Bob, myself, and another fellow, and we're doing something that's somewhat similar at Penny's Point on it's a historical site sort of northwest of Ottawa, and it's on Sunday from 11 to 4, and this is our second year. You know, they were quite anxious to have us come back after last year, and very accommodating. And people go up there and they just wander around because it's right on the water, and you know, they have an opportunity to look at a lot of old buildings up there. That the ruins are still there, and we're up against one of those buildings, and a nice tent for us, and you know, have you know, facilities for us and everything. And so we'll be there on Sunday doing something similar to what you guys are doing. So
Well, that's good. Let us know.
it
how that
should be
works out.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let us
last
know how
year
that
it was we did it, and it was unbelievably hot. It was extremely hot, but we ended up teaching some of their staff members how to carve. So that was fun.
Sue and others, that if we knew about that and get the information, if you could give me some information after Sunday, some photographs and a short couple of paragraphs about it, I'll have that in the magazine.
Okay.
Looking
right.
for this kind of information. If we would share this more often with everybody, perhaps some people that would go to Ottawa area would be able to join in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm the one who's in charge of taking the photos, so I'll make sure that you get a couple, and I'll do a little write up on it for you, and forward it off to you. I'll just note that down here in my book, and I'll get it off to you.
Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Okay, and with that, John, why don't you take it, and we'll talk about scaling a project.
Okay. This is what I've been doing. I've been a lot of people ask me about drawing and stuff, so I've been trying to create this idea.
Sorry, just interrupt you for a minute, John. Mark, if you just close up the PowerPoint, we'd have a full view of what John is doing.
You mean the side thing here?
Unless he's got pictures in the slideshow, has he?
Well, he does, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I was thinking about, how to if people can't really draw very good, or I use it for speed, and it's a lot easier for me to and for scaling. If I got an animal, or like I did the sleigh with a reindeer, and I want to make it proportionate, right? I use this technique, and then I can I make a pattern, and I put it on a piece of wood, and I carve it out. So the first picture is yeah, that's one of the things you're going to need to buy. This is an HDMI, and it goes to your iPhone if you got to have the iPhone or iPad. And the tracing paper. Those are two things. They're like $22 each, $20 some each. And you hook up to your phone, hook up to your power, and the HDMI goes to your TV or your screen. And then you
now, John, if
Yep.
you're using your computer and you have a big screen on your computer, then you're obviously working on your computer screen already. You don't need this, but you do this if you want a really big picture on your TV screen, right?
yeah,
Okay.
that's so I can pinch it and enlarge it on your iPhone or iPad. So what I do, I took a picture. I just random picture out of this book, and that's what it looks like on my iPad, and that's what it looks like on the TV screen, on my monitor screen. So the next picture is I just pinched it on my iPad and enlarged that little tiny picture into a huge picture. So I scaled it to whatever scale I can lower. I can make it smaller. I can pinch it and make it smaller or bigger, whatever I wanted. So I figured it'd be that size. So then I put the tracing paper over the top of that monitor. If you can't do it on the iPad, if you put the trace paper on the iPad, as soon as you touch it, it gets smaller. It doesn't work.
Okay, I get you.
So the monitor is it's stationary. You can draw on it and you can touch it with by hand and nothing happens. So I put the tracing paper all over top of that monitor, and then I draw it out to what I want. And the next picture might be the.
Now, John, when you and I were gabbing about this, we were talking about you have to draw on that fairly lightly, right?
Yeah, very light. Yeah, very light.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just want to get.
Yeah, but like
you're
if you
gonna
have kind
bruise-
of, I don't know what these screens are, but they're kind of liquidy, some of them, right? And you don't want to.
Yeah, you bruise the screen, I think.
Yeah.
So then you got a picture of that. You got a pattern of that horse, and I drew it out. I darkened it once I got it on my bench here. I darkened it out, and then and then you cut it out, and you got yourself a pattern of whatever you want. Like I did. Can you go back to my screen, Mark?
Yep.
Or me? Like I did the sleigh here. That was in proportion with the deer. I had the deer, and I wanted the sleigh proportion for the deer, right? So then I pinched that drawing out. It was probably 3-inch big picture. Then I pinched it out on my iPhone, and it got larger and larger on my big screen. And then I held it there and put the tracing paper on, drew it out, and I made a pattern from it. And it's pretty easy. But so you only need a couple things. You need the tracing paper, and you need this white cord, HDMI, and goes to your TV, and the other one goes to your iPhone or iPad. So if you don't have an iPhone, you can probably get your grandchild's phone or something, or somebody's phone or iPad.
But
I don't know.
Jean-Paul, I
Yep.
think that little item that you showed there, the electronic bed on the left-hand side of the screen, that probably works with Android too.
I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't have one, but I just use I have an iPad and an iPhone,
Yeah, because
and it probably could. It's probably
John,
compatible.
what's the exact part? Is there a model number and stuff for this part, or it's just called HDMI?
HDMI to iPhone to iPad, or to iPhone HDMI. I think that's what it's called. That's
Okay.
I could get you the name. I just gotta look it up here. That's on Amazon where I bought that, and I buy my tracing paper on Amazon.
Yeah, if you punch in the Amazon's choice for lightning to HDMI, it should pop up.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right there.
The whatever's in the picture, that's usually what will pop up.
Right.
I do too much Amazon.
Yeah, it's an easy technique, and you can do anything you want enlarged. You can put it on if you have a bigger screen, make a bigger picture, and it doesn't matter.
Okay, any more questions for John?
I use a different technique than what is being shown here. I use my computer, and it's a PC, and I use Microsoft Word. So if I find an image that I like on the internet, then I copy it if I can. If I can't do that, I'll take a screenshot, and then I pull up Microsoft Word on my computer, on my monitor screen, and I ensure that it's at 100%, so that if I measure the width of a Word document, it's 8.5 inches wide. And then what I do is I insert that image, a JPEG file, and then I crop it. And that's easy to do if you're using Windows and Microsoft Word. So I crop it as tight as I can. And then all I do to get an image the size that I want is I go down to the corner and pull it diagonally, and you either expand it or you reduce it, and everything stays in exactly the same proportions. And then if I know how high I want that image to be, I just put a ruler up to my monitor screen and I measure it when I get it to be that size. And then I print it on a piece of cardstock and I've got a pattern. And
perfect.
it's very easy to flip it 180 degrees so you get the opposite hand view if you want to see what the other side looks like. And I've used that technique for years and years and years, and it's so easy. And I don't have to buy any special equipment. I can even get it up to 11 by 14, a legal size, but I have to turn it horizontally on my screen. But the big trick is to make sure that either the letter, the document, or the legal or the regular one is the exact right size when you start out. So then when you measure the size of the image, it's accurate. And so I can scale all my images that I save on a document by doing it that way, and it's super, super easy.
Very good. Yeah, but it's all different ways to skin a cat. Like you just figure out whatever works for you, right? And this works for me easily. I can like pinch it. It could be 6 inches, and then I could stop, or 8 inches, or whatever I want, right? And it's easy. It's easy, just as easy too. Very good. It's fun.
Thanks, Paul.
I just ordered mine right now, and it's on for 19. Well, I get Prime, so $19.99, and you can have $1 coupon off. So it's very easy to find. Never pick the
Very
first
good.
one you find. Always look for a cheaper one. And it's Apple approved.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, John Paul.
No problem.
All right, and that takes us to Murray. You want to talk about your process for fixing things?
First off, to say something about mistakes. There's no mistakes in artwork or carving. It's only called a new design.
I think this. Well, I did say as also known as opportunities. Right? Yeah.
The big thing about the mistakes is with art is one mistake covering another mistake with enough nerve to charge for it. As a true artist. And what I've done here is I want to show two possibilities for my pictures that I carved. The one on the right, I think, are following that through. That one first, is it? I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. We'll do the one on the right first with the picture with his leg up. Getting this from one of the magazines from the Caricature Carvers of America. The carver that did this carved it from one block, so I did the same thing. It's usually not something I would do. I'd put pieces together, but I tried his method. But then as I got smaller and smaller down to the ankle at the bottom where the base is at, this thing was starting to move. The basswood was flexible. It was causing problems. And so I just knew that if that thing tipped over, as the ankle got smaller, it was going to break. So the arrows indicate where my 1/8 inch drill bit was drilled into the leg carefully. And then I inserted a 1/8 inch dowel up that hole, and it secured it, especially for the bottom one first. I did that. I did the next one up to his waist on his left leg, his right leg. Then I went ahead and did both of those joints that way. So the dowel does show through. You simply are going to paint it because you'll carve over it. In other carvings, I've had the dowel where the drill bit got too close to the edge, or I hadn't carved it fully. And when I start carving it for doing the finishes cuts of it, I end up carving close to the dowel. That doesn't really matter because it's going to be painted anyway. So that's the first one. The next one on the left, I'm talking about the joints and covering the joints up. So maybe the next slide will be what we're talking about. Yeah, so this is somewhat of the scaling thought. First off, in this one, this particular piece, I submitted it to this group one time, and Mark made a comment about the fact that the glove on his right hand, when I did it, I followed the pattern of the picture that the original carver gave, and the one finger was up outside of the glove. Unfortunately, as I started looking at that, when Mark suggested maybe you should have two fingers up there or something different about it, it kind of bothered him and it really bothered me. It looked like this guy was giving the batter the finger. But it's actually what happens is when I turn the pattern, turn the carving around, and you look at the left hand holding the ball, it's much larger than the one that has the glove on it. So what was happening is I really needed to carve a new glove, having the fingers, both fingers sticking out of it, but the glove needed to be much bigger. So as I carved a new glove, trying it out, you could see it on the left, you see the first one down at the bottom of the finger sticking up. And the one on the top, as I was carving the glove, I didn't do the full glove. I did up to the point where I'm going to cut it off flat and join it to the wrist. So it's much larger, and it really suits the hand that was on his left side holding the ball. And on the right hand side, you'll see where I cut the glove off of the original glove that I had carved. And I cut the wrist of the carving a little bit longer so the wrist is showing, and I glued the new baseball glove and hand on that. The size and proportion was just right. Next one. This gets into what one of my plastic surgery kind of thing I do. My daughter works for a plastic surgeon, so he's working on people all the time, including me sometimes. And I've shown this to be in front of my dust collector, because as I'm using the Fordham tool and sanding with that, you'll get all kinds of dust off of it. So on purpose, I took a piece of the wood that I'm going to cut from the original block that I'm carving to make the new part for the body, and I sanded that down with the Fordham sandpaper on that rotary part. And you'll see the Gorilla Glue sitting there, as well as my piece of cardboard with the dab of glue on it. And I use a toothpick and some bigger pieces. If I need smaller, I'll do that bigger. I'll keep bigger. But those are the things that I'm going to use to do the next job. Next one is when I apply the arm to it, and I purposely made it this way so there would be a gap at the back after the arm was glued on. That one piece, that stick glued onto that part, was going to be a right arm of a carving. So I use a small tip of this toothpick, the round toothpicks, and put the glue down into the crevice as far as I can. Put a little bit more in there, and you shove it in as far as you can, leaving the gap open. And then the next picture will show, as you do that, you simply take the the powder from the sandpaper or from the sanding and put it into that hole. Now, this is not going to fill up the hole. It's just going to go down in further. So with a toothpick, I apply it in further, push it, and put more glue onto it, and then do it again until I'm pretty sure that I've got the hole filled up. The next picture, Mark, I think it shows that there. It's filled up on the left-hand side. Then I sanded it, and when I paint it, and that goes back to that very first picture. If you take, yeah, that's the one there. You'll see the arrow. That was done exactly the same way on the back of the way his arm was applied. So this allowed me to make a little adjustments on the position of the arm. I did the small dowel inside John Paul in the dowel, in matching it up and so on through to the body, but it had a little bit of play in it, so I was able to position the arm just right. If you go back to the very first picture, Mark, way at the top there, if you can remember where the first glove was on his knee. This new bigger glove would not fit on the knee. There's the difference there. So I let it hang down, and that even had more expression to the carving by that glove hanging down. I saw shortly after doing that part of the carving, I was watching baseball on TV, and there was this one pitcher, I don't know which team he plays for, but what he does to relax himself is he bends over, and his arm with the glove on it swings back and forth, left and right, like a pendulum. He's relaxing himself. Then he draws the glove up with the ball in it, winds up and lets the ball fly. I thought this is a good way to describe what's happening with that glove hanging down. He's letting himself to relax and staring down the pitcher. So that's it. Any questions from that point?
Very good.
Rather than putting plastic, the commercial stuff made up and hoping to get the texture that I've had some that I've used in the past that what sanded putty kind of thing. I don't know what they call that stuff. It's a crack filler kind of thing. I've had a hard time getting the paint to stick to, especially water base. So this method lets the water based paint stick to it much better than they did the other stuff. Any questions?
I think just the general comment that that we could make is that, like, if you're dissatisfied with any part of your carving, it's wood, right? And you're a woodworker, you're a carver, so change it. You know, as Murray was talking, I was thinking, you guys may have remember seeing that little 1812 infantryman I made. When I first made him, I thought it looked great, but the more and before painting, the more I looked at him, I thought he looked too short. His legs were too short. And so I just made a cut in it, added a piece of wood, seamless joint, and now he was the right height. You know, his proportions looked better to me. And so, you know, that's something that everybody should feel free to do. Get in there, modify your carving before it's painted, and you'll be a lot happier with it, right? You don't have to live with something that just doesn't look right to you at any point in the carving.
And don't be afraid, just do it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, JP.
The fact is that if we, as we're carving it, sometimes the feeling is I get in a hurry and I want to get this thing done. It's far better for me to have the thing carved, almost finished, to sit it down and let it rest for a couple of days in my brain and come back and look at it a few times. And then suddenly I'll discover it. So your comment that night made me look at it again. I looked at it and I thought, hokey mokey, this is really weird.
Yeah. I know, Dave Lukes, you spent some time with bird carvers, and we've mentioned it before, but a bird carver will take a photograph of their carving or look at their carving in a mirror. And that just tweaks a different part of their brain, and they see something that they hadn't seen before, and they make the modification prior to putting in hours of painting, right?
That's a technique a lot of people, not just bird carvers, a lot of people do with their carvings, and I do it particularly if I'm carving a face, and I have a mirror in my carving room so that I can look and just see where eyes and whatever should be. But there are times when I will actually hold a handheld mirror up, look in the handheld mirror to get a different view of my face or whatever. But I've seen, and I've done it myself, where people have taken carvings and actually taken pictures of them from different views, and then looked at the pictures, and that's amazing what you see that's different than when you just look at it from one point of view.
Yeah, that's right.
My wife is another good source. I get her to critique.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much, Murray. All right, the last thing we wanted to talk about is the potential, at least, of having another virtual competition and show. And John Paul and I just kind of wanted to open it up for a general discussion. John, you might have something else you want to say about it, but the notion was just get a general discussion and hear what people have to say about it.
Yeah, that's basically it. I just want to get an idea of what we want to do, and like, if we got any other ideas, if we want to add on a few things, want to add on you know, like an ornament, a Christmas ornament, or, you know, a little side ornament or whatever. Let's get some ideas out there, and we'll do a little competition, have some fun.
Are we looking at October or something? Or?
Yeah, October, November, fall.
Okay. I need to be pressured.
Yeah.
I'd suggest maybe a little later, because I know there's a number of carvers do not carve in the summertime.
Right.
So maybe if it was November, even first part of December, as opposed to October, I think we get more carvings in.
Oh, that sounds good.
I like the idea of a Christmas ornament, maybe doing something like that too. That'd be fun.
Yeah, just on the side. Yeah, like
Yeah.
have the caricature carving and then have
Yep.
a side ornament.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Or you could just do it a caricature for Christmas. You could do some, it could be an ornament, but it could be sort of caricature style
Yeah.
for Christmas, and that would be the competition.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can't believe you guys don't carve in the summer. That's the best time. You could be outside and you could, blow dust on your deck. It's great. I got a high deck, so when I carve, all the chips fall between the boards and less stuff to do. No, actually, for carving, I think it's a great idea. You're gonna have another one. That'll inspire everyone to get into it again and do something. We have a lot, Roger and I and a couple of the other guys, we have a lot of stuff going on. And we're working with a couple of workshops. And we just finished one. We made a fish about 12 to 14 inches long. Turned out really great for carvers who actually started in September. And starting on Monday, Roger and I are doing another one for a wet towel, saw wet towel, about 6 inches tall, Roger? Something like that. And it's we're looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a fun one. So I'm hoping that you guys will take the message and just carve. Doesn't matter where you are or whether it's summer or winter, doesn't matter. Carve. That's it.
But Dave had a good thought though too, Fred. If we started really publicizing this idea of our next virtual show, maybe at our next Zoom meeting in August, then people have kind of September, October, November to work on something. And then if we make the competition early in December instead of third Thursday in December, make it maybe the first Thursday in December, then now we have our Christmas ornaments to be judged prior to Christmas, right?
Oh, and that sounds perfect. I think it's great for the show. But my message was, you don't need to stop carving. You know what I mean? Just carve. Doesn't matter what. Carve something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's right.
Have fun. Thanks.
Or we could also have a Santa Claus, just a category of just Santa Claus, or in ornaments, or whatever we decide to do, or elves, or
maybe just open it up like that, John, and just call it Christmas, Christmas theme, right? And so if somebody wants to do an ornament, or somebody wants to do a Santa or an elf, maybe kind of go at it that way.
I was wondering too, what if we, how they did the Caricature Carvers of America, they do like a whole theme, like the Wild Wild West or the saloon theme and stuff like that. What if we could do a virtual carving that, say if I did a carving, you did a carving, and we could put it in a picture, and so it looks like it's all in, like all our carvings are on like a scene, but they're not. They're just the pictures of the carvings are in the scene. Know what I mean? That maybe say we have a background of a ship, a pirate ship or something, and we could take all our pictures and put it on this pirate ship or something. Everybody gets a carving. Like say we need say we're doing a pirate ship. We need sea captain. Somebody wants to do sea captain or pirates, and it's I don't know if we could do it or not. Like
sounds interesting.
John, one of the ways to do that would be to have a background done. Maybe you can help us with expanding one, but put the ship in the background and then have a dock with all of our carvings mounted on it.
Yeah, but we'd be doing it virtually, like not or we could mail it in, and or I don't know. But I'm just throwing something out there.
If you take pictures on a white background, you can kind of, or there are Photoshop things that you can do to superimposed, kind of like on a green screen, I guess.
All
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to do is make the photograph into PNG with no background. And you can see
Something like what you got in your background there, Murray,
have
you know, you-
I have the equipment to do all of that really quick. A few clicks and it's done. So if you wanted to send your picture to me after you take a picture of the carving, we can make it into one of those JPEGs or PNG, I should say, to stand on the dock or wherever it's going to be.
yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know, I'm just throwing an idea. That'd be a good project. It'd be a fun. But you come up with like 20 caricatures or 20 people doing certain things and say, okay, then raise your hand up. Okay, I want to do that one. I want to do that one. I want to do that one. And we put it all together and it'd be a nice and maybe do posters, you know, make some posters or be a nice cover for the
Very
magazine.
cool.
Yeah, it would be for sure.
Print a calendar.
Or a calendar, yes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think you'd do that for the show though, John. That'd be kind of like.
Oh, no,
another
no. I'm
project
just saying for
outside of
another
the show.
project.
Yeah,
Group
Yeah,
project.
different project.
yeah.
No, it's good because the Caricature Carvers America, like they used to do a book of
Right.
like the West scene or the trains, or I don't know if they still do, but they used to publish a book.
Yeah,
And I
it'd be good
suggest-
for our magazine, the Ontario Carvers magazine, put it on the cover.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Cool.
throwing out ideas.
Can I suggest a different background? Why not Parliament buildings and different characters, people getting ready for elections? It's something that happens all the time. There are all kinds of different characters that you can put and doing different things, from knocking on doors to putting up signs to doing all kinds of things.
Well,
But-
and any background, anything
If
we.
you put a background like that and you design your characters to be
Yeah.
doing something so that it tells the story.
Yeah, for sure.
This is in front of Parliament, you're thinking, Richard?
Yeah, like Murray's background,
Yeah,
just put Parliament buildings and then all these people doing different things, getting ready for the election or participating in.
Might get a little scary.
I think,
We'd have a tough time finding a picture of the Parliament buildings without scaffolding all over it.
The last time there was a crowd in front of Parliament buildings, they declared national emergency, didn't they?
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
I think Richard has an ulterior motive. He just wants to carve a truck.
If he draws a short straw, then he gets to do Trudeau.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just on the side, it kind of gets off the topic of this, of having a competition, but a group of carvers down by Tilsonburg area, the Tri-County group, I think it's Tri-County, they produced a saloon. It's a takeoff on the one that was done in the States. And they had it at the show in Waterloo. And the fellow organizing this thing, he has then contacted community people. And it's now going from home hardware to home hardware in all the different communities, plus the Royal Bank of Canada in different places. And they have it for 2 or 3 days. People are raging about the thing. They're just having a great time coming in and bringing their families in to look at it. And it's probably about 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, something of that sort. And it's the same. I think you've probably seen pictures of the one with the different characters in it. It's quite large.
Neat.
That's an idea.
About 12 years ago, the Wood Carving Illustrated Forum, they did a hillbilly reunion, it was called, and they got anybody that wanted to could carve something to do with a hillbilly, but that was before all this virtual stuff, so we actually had to send them in, and I was just getting started then, and I contributed to it, and it turned out to be quite a display. It was some guy, I can't remember his name. He volunteered to put it all together. And I think it went to the final resting place was in the publisher's building, whoever was publishing Wood Carving Illustrated. But it was a lot of fun and turned out pretty good. It did too.
Nice.
Probably in the Fox Chapel in Pennsylvania.
Right, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
for now,
you know-
just come up with some different ideas. We'll come up with some different ideas, and maybe if everybody will have we go with a Wild West theme or a Pirates theme or a Parliament theme or whatever. Well, if everybody likes that idea, we'll
John, I
get some
think,
characters.
John, I think you thought you shared it some moments ago. If everyone was to stick to a Santa,
Yeah,
you could put a Western outfit him on. You could make him in the North Pole igloo or down on the island somewhere. But
yeah, we could,
Santa
yeah,
around the world, for instance, would be a great theme. And then each Santa,
yeah,
each person carving a Santa has a different outfit, different look, different feeling. And you put
Yeah.
a lot of something into that carving then.
just got to be organized so that we don't make the same ones. You know, like organize it. Whatever it is,
Be a-
got to be organized.
Be a Canadian theme. You put them
Yeah.
out west on a combine or in Newfoundland on the ship.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, John, so there's some
Mine's Santa.
input for us. So why don't you
Yep.
cook some of that up and we'll see if we want to do something for early December and what that might look like, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
If we
Okay.
did, if we did that, I think we'd have to specify, say, the height of the carving, so everybody was carving the same, so you didn't get an 8-inch carving and a 3-inch
For sure.
carving.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You got to be
it
well organized.
It seems to me like it's two different ideas. One is an
Yeah.
idea for a virtual show, another is a group
Yeah.
project like you're describing, because it'd be pretty hard to judge these things, you know, if it was a virtual show item. But if we got kind of fairly specific around what we want to do for Christmas for the virtual show, we could do that. And then maybe
Sure.
take on this other project as another item, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
John,
just-
you've got some good input from everybody here and we can
Yeah,
give
yeah.
that some thought and come back with something maybe in August as a suggestion. Okay, guys and gals, the last item on our agenda is just tips and tricks. I don't have anything to show here in terms of a slide deck, but if anybody wants to share a tip and trick before we or a technique before we sign off, that'd be great.
I already did mine.
Yeah. Okay, then. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And as we said earlier, summer's a busy time for us all, and we're all trying to get out and enjoy the good weather. So I appreciate 25 people being on the line here tonight. That was a lot of fun. Murray and John Paul, thanks for sharing what you did with us. And again, Murray and I are going to be at Lang with half a dozen of us, and feel welcome to drop in. Sue mentioned her Northwest of Ottawa gathering, and I'm sure you'd like to see some other faces too, and they'd be welcome, Sue.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Good.
Yeah, it's a nice picnic area up there, and as well they've got some nice areas and things like that. So if anybody's in the area, drop by. There's plenty of free parking. And
Good. And what was the
Well,
name? Did it have a specific name, Sue?
the actual place itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Penny's Point, Pinhuys,
Okay.
Point, Point. Yeah, and it's a historical site, and
Good.
yeah.
Spell
so
that
we're
again
on-
slowly for us.
Oh, it's PINHEY Point.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the good weather, and we'll hopefully see you all again in August.
Hey, good
Absolutely.
night.
Have a good one. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.